Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just so you know, I am recording. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so what brings you in today?
So I'm probably just gonna talk about like one of the more important parts of my life, I guess. Um, but yeah. Um, so basically, I think one of the like biggest and most important parts of my life would probably be like visiting where my dad grew up. Uh, he was born in El Salvador, and I had never like been there before, other than the one time that I went. And I was real little. I think I was around like 10 at the time. And when you're 10, I mean, it's like, hey, you're going on vacation. It's amazing. But when we went there, like the whole atmosphere of the place was just completely different. Um, there was a lot of people that were homeless that were just kind of like living on the streets, and me not really knowing anything, I at the time just kind of thought it was weird because like where I come from, everybody has a house. There's not a lot of homeless people around, and it was just kind of like eye opening to see like a different perspective of like what other people are going through. And I think one of the big things that like my parents like helped like enforce was that if you see somebody else who is struggling, then you try to help them out. And it's not like you just kind of look at them like they're a weird person, if that makes any sense. You just try to like give as much as possible, and then you should be like thankful for what you have. So yeah, I think that was probably one of the most like important parts of my life because it like impacted how who I am today.
Yeah, of course. If you were to go back down to El Salvador, in the next couple of months or so, how do you think it would make you feel revisiting it, but older and more mature?
Um, I feel first of all, it would probably feel pretty like nostalgic, I would say, because like I have some memories. Like when we were there, we went and we climbed a volcano, and I can remember that a little bit. Um, and then there are like specific little different things that I remember. There was, I think we went on a hike somewhere. It might have been going up to the volcano. I don't really remember where exactly, but I remember my brother being chased by a goose. That was like one of like my fondest memories. So that was like something that was interesting to me. Um, but I think other than being nostalgic, it would probably make me feel a little bit sad, I guess, because of like seeing people who don't have as much as like what they could possibly have. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, what do those memories of your first visit to El Salvador mean to you?
um, they like make me think of just like a simpler time because back then I didn't really have to worry about anything. I didn't have to worry about doing schoolwork at least at that time. I just had a break, and for me it was just like you just go there and you have fun, you play with your cousins and just enjoy it. Um, yeah, I don't think there's anything else really other than just like it was just a time to just have fun.
Did it make you feel like more connected to your father, I guess?
I think so. At least a little bit. It was it was really interesting because he would like show us like, oh, this is the place where I would go out and play as a kid, and like one of the big things was he would go and like play soccer in the street or whatever, just because that's what they did then. And he's just like, yeah, whenever I wanted to go and play, I just walked down the road like to here, and we just played here. So it was just like it made me think of like him as like more of a human, I guess, rather than just being my dad. Because like I don't know, it's just your dad. He tells you what to do, and sometimes he gets annoying, but it's like, oh yeah, he did have a childhood at one point, I guess.
Just out of curiosity, how old was your dad when he came here?
I think he came when he was 18.
Oh,
Uh, he had four sisters. I think I'm kind of yeah, four sisters, and he was the youngest out of everybody, and he's the only boy. So he was like spoiled. I like to say that he was spoiled. He wasn't really
yeah,
spoiled, but um,
yeah.
but yeah, he left when he was 18, and he left behind a lot of like friends and everything. And so like he told me that story too, and I think that helped like connect a little bit. But yeah, it was just like he left at 18 and then just kind of bounced around from like Miami to Virginia to Ohio, back to like Florida, just trying to like find different jobs, and just he stayed with some of his sisters. And so some would live in Virginia, some lived in Miami. So like he could just go back and forth to whoever he wanted basically at the time.
All right. I don't think I have any more questions to ask. If you want to like switch now, we can.
Yeah. Um I can give you some feedback too if you want.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So your questions made me definitely think a lot. They were really good. I wouldn't have really thought of like what would I think of now of like if I went back here soon. I really hadn't like thought about it because like there's a lot of stuff that I can guarantee that's changed that I wouldn't have really paid attention
Hmm.
to. And then the way and like even you asking like how my dad or like when he came here, that kind of like brought up more memories and stuff too. Um, but yeah, so I thought your questions were really good.
Thanks.
Mhm. Okay, so now we will flip. Uh, Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. Is it all right if I record this? If
It
not, you can
is.
tell.
Nope, you're good.
All right. So what would you like to talk about?
So I am from a very rural area in Ohio, and I am planning on moving to a more suburban slash urban area. And while I'm kind of excited to move out of Podunk, Ohio, and into something where everything's in walking distance, I'm afraid like I'll have a little bit of culture shock.
Mhm. So, so the fact that you're going from one place where, how you said it's not all within like walking distance to going from that to going to a place where everything's a little bit closer and I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more people. Do you think that has any like impact on uh, how you're feeling about it?
I think it does. I'm not a very confident driver, and the roads where our house is they're very busy, and it makes me a little nervous, just driving around and like driving on bigger like 2 lanes. Anything more than 1 or 2 lanes is too much. So it's kind of nerve-wracking, and the fact that like all the stores are gonna have way more people than I'm used to. So it's
Mhm.
just more people that I have to interact with.
Yeah. Um, so talking about the people and kind of like connecting it to now, I'm not sure how soon you're planning on moving out there. But having all this like this COVID stuff happening, whenever it like ends, or do you think that'll have like any impact on like how you kind of feel about like being around that many people, or like if that'll impact your decision to move sooner or later?
So we plan on moving, I think, next month. I'm not sure on the date, but I think regardless of COVID, the amount of people just kind of makes me nervous. Everyone like around here, I know a lot of people, and then 20 minutes west, I don't know anyone.
Um, so I want to pick on, or not pick on, but I want to pick out the fact that not knowing anybody. Do you think that also kind of contributes to like the nerves you were talking about?
For sure. I mean, I grew up with the same neighbors my entire life, and going into and like my neighbors aren't that close. I mean, they're close to the house, but I mean, our houses aren't like nearly touching like they are our new
Yeah.
house. So it's like I've never had, that short of a like space between houses, and I don't know these people at all. And so it's like, what am I gonna do?
Mhm. It's understandable. I could only imagine moving to somewhere where you don't know anybody and then just kind of being close. I'm also kind of like that. But I don't think I have any more questions at all. Is there anything else that you really wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay, awesome.
Do you want feedback?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, your questions are really good. I really like how you paraphrased and summarized what I said before and then asked a question. Um, yeah, they were. I mean, you asked a lot of open questions, which is what I think we were looking for in the restoring.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I will stop the recording now.